What is a small thing that you saw from Florida State and Mike Norvell that if it's a good year and a successful year, unequivocally successful, you're going to go back and go, oh, that was the first sign of something good was going to happen, this small thing?
I don't know if it's small. It's potentially huge. So maybe this isn't applicable, but I just think the willingness for Mike to become the CEO. I give Mike credit for as much as I've ripped him, and I think we all should at 2-10. But I believe that it's hard. There's an ego hit to this. There's a lot of elements to this. When you start firing your offensive and defensive coordinators, it's the precursor to you being fired. This is a stopgap measure. Typically, historically, that's the way these things go, is that you fire the guys underneath you to stave off your own firing, and then in due time, you get fired if it doesn't work. Now, sometimes it works. And when it works, Dabo Swinney, you could turn into a legend. It could turn into something where you're much more functional. I give him credit for this. He has not only done this, he's embraced it. He's embraced the role. And I think from what I can tell, it kind of freed him up to be a little bit more confrontational, quite frankly, with individuals that he needed to be. Once told that these guys aren't going to do anything for me, meaning Gus assessed his offensive group, Mike acted accordingly, had tough conversations. And I think the demand will be easier for him because he can see it. He doesn't have to be consumed with the next play. He doesn't have to be consumed by even game planning. He can be consumed with interpersonal relationships and really kind of find out where these kids' heads are, and for the good and the bad. So I think it could be a big thing for him. I think it could help this organization quite a bit. And I give him credit. Not everybody embraces what is perceived to be kind of a secondary role, even though I know it's a CEO title. In the past, that is a criticism of a coach if they were a CEO coach. These days, I believe it's a compliment because I think all coaching goes that direction eventually.
Well, there's too much right now.
There's just so much they have to do.
This is the most busy era in college football coaching history, and it really is kind of a canyon between the previous era and this one.
Correct.
In terms of the demands on your time. Okay, second down would be the opposite question. You could say 2-10 was the moment, Tom. No, I'm saying from this offseason, if it careens into the side of the mountain, what's a moment that you go, well, kind of figured that could happen because of this?
Well, I think quarterback play. I think if teams are successfully able to bottle up the run game, I mean, he's not a dynamic passer. And if he's not able to really threaten with his legs, and they are able to confine him to the pocket, and he's got to make accurate throws on obvious passing downs, I don't think we're dynamic enough at wide receiver. He's not a drop back passer. That's why he left Boston College. I would tell you that we're doomed. We're doomed if they cannot establish any consistency in the run game. This is what Gus is brought here to do. This is what they're going to do. But if they're not successful in doing it, and there's a blueprint that you can beat Florida State by no one gets outside your outside shoulder, and you force him to throw the football from the pocket, yeah, man, we're going to lose a lot of games.
The interesting thing is, again, doing those deep dive numbers on Gus, put it on the boards a couple weeks ago or last week. He is incredibly successful at getting the running back to the line of scrimmage without being contacted.
Yep.
Like, even in bad years, it doesn't matter. He's still top 20 in the country at that avoidance rate. Like, those are numbers that are verifiable going back to 2016, but he has always been top 20 in the country at getting the running back at least to the point of attack without being bothered. So if he does that again this year, he's in good position. Third down, looking forward to regional weekend in Tallahassee for Florida State baseball. Game 1, your starter is whom?
I think you still probably always throw your ace. I mean, I know that in some years in the past, we've entertained the idea of going with your number 2 or even your number 3, depending, but I don't know. Most coaches don't want to do that. They don't want to do it, and they'll throw their ace. And one of the reasons they do it is if it goes long, like if somehow the regional goes long, you can bring him back around.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, that's kind of, to some degree, if you're up against it.
I think in this particular instance, given that he's a first-round arm, I don't know that they'll be able to, they'll be allowed to do that. And Vellini has, when Jamie was scratched, pitched the first game of the weekend. So, like, he gets it.
Oh, he does. And I like having two very capable dudes.
You have a set of circumstances here that if you wanted to do it, you most certainly could.
I always feel like coaches believe, and I can sense it because we're talking about it and I get uneasy, like you're just tempting fate. If you don't put out your best player, it's a blatant disrespect to the other team who's made a regional. They're capable. They're capable.
Well, typically they're capable of playing to a 3-1 game because they've got a guy.
Because they got a guy.
Yeah, one guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Seeing where your head was at.
Yeah.
Fourth down. When this season is done, Florida State's best portal acquisition will be whom?
Deuce Robinson.
Didn't go with the trenches. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Well, it's sexy to go with a 6'7" wide receiver who's a freakishly good athlete.
Yeah.
The answer is always offensive lineman. It's true in the draft. It's true when we're talking about what makes the engine run. So I could have said Gunnar Hansen. I could have said any of those offensive linemen that we brought in, and it would be probably more correct. But it's not a lot of fun to say that. And if they're reasonably effective, then he's going to have a big year because they're going to run the ball and he's going to spring for big plays. And he's an athlete. He's a freak, right? So he's got a chance to have a big season.
Well, it's the beauty of football, the yin-yang effect. If he is a legitimate deep threat, that makes your running game all the more powerful. And the balance that you have to play defensively, because you have to honor somebody who's that tall who can run. That allows for a 7-man box instead of an 8-man box, and then Gus gets to work on that. Yeah, that's fair. He can have a tremendous impact. Deuce can.
Yeah, if they're not going to shade a safety and they're going to bring the safety down in the box to stop all the runs, and you're going to get a bunch of one-on-one. I mean, early in the year, you could just tell Tommy, throw it up. I mean, if you see this, if we come to the line of scrimmage and you see this, they're disrespecting, they're not playing us honest. You have the freedom to check to just throw it up. I mean, he's going to win. He's 6'7".